Alright, here we go. Electric bike. I am now officially selling it on eBay. I'm going to do kind of a rundown on all the questions you might have and kind of the basic operation so you guys get a complete understanding of what you're getting here. First of all, I'll go through all the stuff that's included that's not the bike. First of all, this is a bike carrier or a cover so you can store it dust free when you aren't using it. This is the 9-pack charger, and it's got a wooden connector in the back. This is all screwed together. This has one cord to simplify how it works. I have another video online showing you how I made that. The way this is set up is they're so close together because I wanted to fit this on the wall in a certain spot, and I didn't have a lot of room, so that's why they're so close together. But basically, if you want this one, you can't really get it because this one's in the way, so you gotta pull this one off one at a time to get them up and over each other. The batteries are 2 years old. However, I've really only used them here and there for drill use. I think I've taken the bike out maybe 4 times total in the past year, and that's kind of why I'm selling it, because I don't really use it. The batteries themselves are in, I would say, very good condition. Some of them have issues with them, like the tape. This is trim tape, and they're starting to peel up a little bit. But other than that, and if you push them down, they stay down, but they eventually slowly pop up. So that's kind of a bummer. They all have really good green lights. None of them have. I've left them. I've used 1 or 2, so that's all included. That all comes with that. That's worth something. Here's a box of extra parts. When you're working on the bike, the front wheel likes to travel on you while you're doing stuff. So this is a rope I place between the tire and the frame to keep it from twisting. So that's a freebie. What else we got? USB power cord. There are two ports on the bike. The top one is a card that has all of the bike information. I got some photos on there. It's got some MP3 players, MP3 files on there, and those go with the MP3 player. So when you set this up, you hit it to you power up, you hit FM, you hit it again, it goes to MP3. You can play all your MP3s without having to worry about radio reception. It does have an FM antenna that comes up around here. This is the end of the antenna. It gets, I would say, a 5 out of 10 signal. So if you have a station close by, you're probably going to get it. But for the most part, I usually use MP3s for driving around. So the top one is MP3s. The bottom one is a standard USB 5-volt port. So I'm including this. If you have a Android device, you just pop this in here, and you can keep your phone in your pocket. Just throw it in your pocket. It'll charge your phone while you're riding around. So that's included. This is a emergency crank puller. I usually throw that in the back of one of the bags there. Basically, the way I have this set up is both pegs are level, and so they go like this. And so it's nice to cruise around, but if you're in an emergency and you're out of battery, basically what you'll do is you'll take one of these sides, and you'll take a wrench right here, pop your pedal. Sorry, I'm tongue-tied. Pedal. Take the pedal off. And this pops right off. Yeah, it's just a cable, and it's got a plastic tube that keeps it from scratching the frame. But all this does is comes around here, so it starts on one side, ends up on the other side, and this holds it like that. You can stand on it. This is rated for like 700 pounds, something like that. Something crazy. It's dual ferruled, and it was crimped correctly. So there you go. That you pop that off. You pop this off. It pops the cable off. You can put that tool in there, and you use this to pop this out. Flip it over the other side, and you're back in business. So that's included. This is the, I believe this is one of the waterproof covers for something like that. This is a extension cable. Back here we have 12 volt power. This plugs into the 12 volt power, and the other one goes into if you have a Dewalt jacket, this will plug right into that. So you can have heat for your heated jacket. That plugs in right there, and so this is included. This is another one. You get two, I guess. This is the all magical wiring diagram for the bike. I can go through this super quick. Basically, it all starts with the batteries. So you have a ground here. All your batteries are in series here. So when you plug this one and this one, these two batteries short to each other, one cell at a time. So I believe there's 6 or 7, I think 6 or 7 cells per Dewalt. So when you have two, they're fully charged, they'll short to each other, and so that'll become one battery basically. And so this will be 1, 2, 3. That's how you get your 60 volts. So 20, 40, 60, and so this is where those gauges are from. So this will tell you those gauges, that'll tell you that gauge, that'll tell you that gauge. Then this comes up, you have a breaker right here, a professional grade, and it's actually been rated for what it's supposed to be. And here's the motor, here's all of the motor circuits. So all of the motor circuits are on this major breaker here, and so this is a completely separate unit. That's all your motor stuff. Now this is all the stuff that I have added on coming off this way. So all of this stuff is not included in this breaker. So when you plug it in, everything turns on, and these are all with fuses. So basically what we're doing is all this is 60 volts, all this is 12 volts. So what we have here is a 60 volt to 12 volt step down, and then we go through a fuse here, and then we go through 4 fuses, so everything's fused. And we come up here, we got a brake switch, which will turn on the brake lights. We have a tail lights park switch, which turns on the low version of the brake light. So, and then we have our headlight unit here. We got a high and a low for the headlights. And we come over here, we got heated grips, and the heated grips are there was a high setting and a low setting. They are on the low side setting. So if you want some, I mean, it was only a $5 thing, so it's there if you want it. If you don't need it, just don't worry about it. When you turn on the heated grips, there is a red light. There's a red light right here that warns you, hey, you got the heat on, and it's drawing more power than, so it's a little warning light, tells you that the heat is on. So if it's off, it's off, so you should be good. So coming back, you got your heated grips, and then all of this is still 12 volts. So it goes to the left grip, it goes to the right grip, and that's just the heat for that, and then it also powers that light. Coming down here, your 12 volts, still 12 volts. You got power for that lighter socket. There's a lighter socket, and here's the 12 volt outlet. So the lighter socket is right here, 12 volts, and this is a lighter socket. So that's on the 12 volts, and that's on the 12 volts. Now, also included is a GPS clamp, a thing, and this will clamp on right here so you can see it. The Garmin's all require you use their plug because the traffic and all that stuff is built into the cord. So you want to be able to power it through the standard lighter socket. So that's mostly for if you have a Garmin hooked up, or TomTom, or whatever you want to use. But you can have that plugged in right there, and you have a power source. Because if you try to plug it into USB, it won't work. It has to be their plug so that you can have the So you can have the correct antenna that comes with the the GPS. So that, and then you have USB power. So the USB goes straight to the bottom one, and then up over here. So you have the USB power goes to the bottom one, and then the radio data comes in to the top one. And so you have the radio here, and then you have the left speaker, right speaker. The remote is the buttons you saw, and then that's grounded. So so the radio, you got power here, you got volume up and down, you got next, go back, play and pause if you want to play and pause. The speakers are these are actually faucet sink drains that were stainless, and I polished the heck out of them to get them the shiny color. So that's pretty cool. These are Sony speakers built in, mounted right there. So they're pretty good speakers. They're TV speakers. They don't sound bad at all. They're actually fairly good. So as far as wiring goes, here's that heat switch. So when you click this on, that'll kick on, and then you'll have heat going to the grips. So that'll be off. 12 volt. Your headlights. So you got, click it up for high. Middle will be off, and then down will be low. So you got high and a low, depending on what you need. And then over here you have a tail light on and off. It was easier to just wire it that way. I know when you turn on the lows, usually the tails kick on too, but basically if you have any lights on, go ahead and flip the tail on also. The tail light is it's like a 1930 something Ford tail light. That's the new version. It's LED. Basically, when you hit that the left switch, when you clamp that down, there's a switch down here that connects this up, so you have a full bright LED tail light that comes on when you hit that brake, so you can't miss it. That's the full brightness, and then that tail button right here clicks on this on low. So if you're driving at night, you want to click that on low, so you have that. That's all the wiring. This is the proof that basically people were complaining that this wire isn't thick enough for all of these batteries. But basically what it amounts to is each of these chargers is only drawing half an amp. So that's 60 watts per battery. You take the 60 watts, it comes up to 360 watts total. This cord can handle 360 watts. This is like a 1,500 watt cord, so that it's perfectly fine, and I've been using it for 2 years without any trouble. The wire doesn't get hot. This cord is fully capable of handling 6 of these at the same time. So that was the proof of that. This is a random bag. This is a spare radio that comes with it. I think it was like a $30 radio, so I got 2 of them just in case I shorted something. So there you go, free radio in case the other one craps out. So get a free radio. This is kind of more of the just random paperwork that came with. It's all included. Here's some of the templates. I think that's the template for the tank. Here's some of it, and some of this is old. The original bike was a 2-stroke. I started this project in 2011, and here's some of this old information. So the bike's gone through many revisions. Here's the original Trek owner's manual for the bike. I guess there's a CD. Never really looked at this, but the bike itself is actually a fairly cool bike. This is, if I can get the plaque on here, this is a fully aluminum bike. It's a cruiser style. I believe the front fork is steel, but everything else is all aluminum. And you can kind of see the bike's bike was made. I got the bike in 2011, so it's not the newest bike in the world, and so it has some of, especially right here. Like you can see, I originally had a 2-stroke engine on it, and these were the spots where that mounted. So there is some wear in that one spot right here, but that's kind of more information on the bike. It's these are all the original fenders, and this was just an emblem I got on eBay. But this plate right here is kind of the big thing that took me the longest time. This is one solid chunk of aluminum, and I drilled all of these and then cut all these holes through here and then made this. And then these are the flashlight, the backs of flashlights. Yes, I bought 6 flashlights, butchered the tops off of them to get these plates. And then the flashlights come with like a 4-prong pin, and the USB things come with a 8-prong pin, and I needed the 8-prong pin because I was jumpering cell to cell. And so basically I had to take all of these flashlight batteries, modify them to this shape, but basically everything works. Another complaint that everyone says, oh well, you're mounting these upside down, so if you have any problems they fall out. Well, not the case with this one, because the way this is designed, these these nuts right here actually poke out to where they're not flush. So when you put them in there, they're actually like really locked in there, and they're actually kind of a pain to remove because they're so stuck in there. They can come out one-handed, but it's not that easy. So, and you actually have to be careful, because when you're locking this in place, when you're removing it, especially like right here, when you're removing it, when it does come free, your entire hand is going straight into, if you look at it this way, it's coming, if you really manhandle it, your hand is going to go straight, and it actually kind of hurts. So be careful when putting these batteries in and out, to, you know, kind of wiggle it and jiggle it until it comes out right. And so they are not going anywhere. Yes, ideally they would mount from the top down, but as far as clearance goes, I can't, because there wasn't enough room to lift it without hitting the tank. And then I can't just come around here, because the pedal itself comes really close to the side over here. And actually on this side, I think on the other side it actually hits. So if you actually see how close that would come. So that's why I had it set up like that. Okay, what else? Another thing to mention. Now see, I put in that battery, so now I'm getting some voltage out of the gauge, and it flickers when I'm doing video, and it's not flickering in real life. But basically, so there's the voltage. I have labelings on here since I'm selling it. It says stop at 15 volts, and so basically what this does is when you put a brand new battery on there, it'll say 20 volts, and it's saying 20.6. When you get a brand new battery on here, it'll say 20 volts, and basically as you run it, it'll slowly go down. And when you're done, once you hit 15 volts, the bike's going to shut off. So you can kind of gauge how much power you have based on based on the voltage right there. And once you hit 15 volts, the bike will just shut off, and that's telling you, hey, stop. So that's pretty cool. The way I can show you right here. Here's the breaker for the main motor. So if you do have some kind of short or something crazy goes on, this will trip, and it'll save the motor and everything else. So that's there, and that's a industrial grade breaker. So that should be pretty good. So what else? Here's the gauge. I can plug everything in, and as I showed before, the way this is wired, all you need is that 60 volts, and so you only need 3 batteries to get that 6 volts. So the system's armed right now because I have the left side or the right side hooked up. So let's see, I got 20 volts, 18 and a half, 20 volts. I think I did use one of the batteries, so it's a little lower than all the other ones. But that clicks everything on, and then there's the light for the heated grips. I can show you the high headlight. Look at that. And then so high, there's low. So that works. Got let's see, tail light. So that's the low. And then if I can do this, I don't know if I can. There, kind of junky video, but you get the idea. It looks really cool in RL in real life. But yeah, there's all your accessories. So I'll turn that off. So there's lights off, and then heated is off. And then to power up the bike, it's fairly easy. Here's the bell. It's a very nice bell, really cool looking bell. Nothing on this side. This is your throttle. There you go, full on, kind of halfway off. To power on the bike, you hold this down, and then gives you your speed, gives you your tripometer, and there's a whole bunch of menus. You can go through your different speed settings. If you have any more questions, all of this Bafang stuff is online. So I think that's it. You got the front drums, and these are drums, they're not discs, so it doesn't stop as well as discs, but they are 100 times better than caliper brakes. They do the job. You have 90 millimeter drums in the front, and I think 70 millimeter drums in the back. You have one of the gears here. This is a Sturmey Archer rear 3-speed hub that matches the Sturmey Archer shifter right there. And included with all the information, let's see, here's an extra, more bags. Here's some of the older wiring diagrams. Don't think those apply. Here's some more labels if you want to change the labels. Here's an extra lens for the headlight. I got some random wrenches, bolts. These are 2 different gear ratios of the Sturmey Archer if you want to mess with that. This is the trim tape that's on the batteries if you do want to repair some of those parts that are peeling up. This is the USB connector cable that you can go into, and you'll have to pull this cover off. There's a plug in there that goes to the main display, and what that does is you can actually, when you power up the main controller, you'll plug this into the motor instead of the display into the motor. And so basically you can hook this up to a laptop or computer, and this is USB, and you can go into the parameters and change things if you want. So that's included. Random vintage e-stop thing. Some extra cables, I think, for the Bafang. Here's an extra part to the seat. Random. There's an extra. This is what the fuse style that's on the inside. That's an extra one of those. 20 amp breaker for something, I don't know. I'll just throw these included. Here's another 12 volt thing in case that goes bad. Here's another gauge in case one of the gauges goes bad. Another different style of gauge. So yeah, there you go. That's all the extra stuff. I think that's it. You got the dual stand kickstand, and that's pretty cool. The tires, the wheels are all custom because I had the Sturmey Archers. These are heavy duty spokes. They are thicker than normal, and I custom ordered them with the black spokes, so this is not coming off, this black, and so you got the chrome here. These are a dual wall. I wanted everything as heavy duty as I could because I wanted something that wasn't going to fail on me. And so these are double wall black aluminum rims with your heavy duty balloon tires. The bike itself rides really nice. It is a hardtail, but because the tires are so big, and I usually run them a hair on the low side, it's real smooth. You hardly even notice anything. If you're going up and down curbs and stuff, I mean, yeah, you're going to notice that. But in general, the ride is really smooth. The seat itself is a leather type seat. This is the new from one of the other videos I had. This is the better version. It's got a custom spring mount that springs right here, and it's all mounted like this. And I tried to get it, if you look at it, it's way farther back than a normal seat, and I wanted it as low and as far back as I could without while still having the spring to it, because I wanted that spring. And so this actually mounts, this is parts from a bike rack that I modified to be heavy duty enough to, so this braces between there, and then that mounts to this big honking clip right here, so that holds everything together. She got a nice spring seat, and springs, the seat's maybe a year old, so it still needs a little more break-in, but it is a nice quality leather seat, and it is adjustable up front here if you want to crank it down, because I think right now it was a hair on the loose side. If you wanted to tighten that up, that wouldn't be a big deal. But man, I think I got everything. Motor runs great. I haven't had any issues with it. The batteries run great. The big thing that people were asking, what's the range? I took it, if you look at my neighborhood right here, I had a slight uphill down there, and I took it and I did a loop after loop after loop, and I got about 17 miles out of it before I had to call it quits. And just a slight uphill, like it wasn't level, but it was just a slight uphill. So I mean, your mileage may vary, but just a little bit of an upcline. Not like every loop I did, there was maybe 2 or 3 stops, so just a little bit of stops. But in general, I got 17 miles out of it off of those 6 batteries, and that was last week. So the batteries should be still good. I mean, I can't warranty that they're going to last forever, but they should be good for you for at least another probably 3 years. And if you do change batteries, they're Dewalt, so you can buy them pretty much anywhere. These are what's custom about these, and if you know Dewalt batteries, you'll say, well, how is that a Dewalt battery? These are 5 amp hour batteries, and basically what I did was there was a set of batteries that was black and yellow, and there was a set that was yellow and black. And so yellow and black, so there were 2 different styles. So I took the 2 black pieces from one battery and the 2 yellow pieces, and I sold the 2 yellows and I kept the 2 blacks. And so this is all plastic, this is not paint. This is heavy duty plastic, and this is all Dewalt parts, so it's pretty cool. And then this is just that trim sticker. This is just plastic sticker on here to make it look like a 50s radio type thing, or cylinder heads, like 3 cylinder heads. But I think that's it. I keep saying that, but if you have any questions, you can go through the eBay thing and ask me questions. I know if you go on the website, it'll work. If you do it on a computer, you can actually ask questions. If you do the app, it doesn't allow that. But so go ahead and go online on your computer and see if you can ask questions that way. But there you go. People have been asking, hey, would you sell your bike? Well, now it's for sale. I'm letting you guys decide the price. I'm probably going to start at about $2,000. But you guys can decide from there whether you want to buy this, own this bike, and ride it around your neighborhood. All right, thanks for watching.